Josh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's on screen right now?
Shakira, age 43, and me currently. Is that no good? You know?
This is fucking accurate. I
It's
tell you.
really accurate. That's considering how that's literally me right now, like in bed, half dead.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. I won't use the C word because that's bad for the algorithm. You said in one of your videos, so I was like, oh
you
god.
can't say the word. Yeah.
I'm okay. I think I'm over the worst of it. So
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just resting.
I had
basically.
like a day or two where I was like, I just want to lie asleep in bed. That's all I want. I just want to get this over with as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And then, I was okay after that.
It's just fatigue and a bit of a groggy throat. Hopefully it holds up today for these next couple of hours. It should be fine. I've got like a pint of water and a big cup of tea. So I think I'm more in danger of pissing myself, I think, than losing my voice. But yeah, I'll be fine. Let's see if I can roll through this intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another week of the Game FourCast, the weekly podcast where we get together, we stay socially distanced, and talk about our favourite video games and the favourite news that we found during the week. My name is Josh, aka BottlerWorks. I'm here with Will Olivemeister.
Hello. Normally I'd put some kind of joke in here, but I woke up about 40 minutes ago from a nap, so that's what you got. That's the level we're working at today.
That's absolutely fine. Steve Quikwix.
Hey, it's me, Steve.
And Sammeh.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I broke my golden rule of not working Sundays.
Oh no, that's how they
no.
get. That's how they
paid
get
the
you.
price.
You do one, and that's it. So I just realised as well, I said during the opening that we stay socially distanced, but I think you were literally ill last week, and my avatar is next to yours, and now I'm ill. So
Yeah,
God,
coming
am I
for you next, Steve. Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
I'd beware if I were you.
Well, it's going left, so surely it's going to go off screen to me.
it'll loop round and get you.
You'll never get me.
Has anyone
alive.
checked on Shakira?
She'll be fine. I think she's
they-
absolutely
they-
fine.
For those audio listeners, there's Shakira's on the screen right now in a meme.
Yeah, it's a visual representation of Shakira at age 43 looking pretty good for herself, and then someone dying in bed at the age of 25 next to her, which is just a representation of me, basically.
But you're not 25.
No, I can pretend, Steve. Don't be mean. Who's played some new stuff this week? I actually have something to talk about for once, which is good.
I am worried because I've played a lot of one game.
Right.
But that's it. I've not really got a lot to add this week on this front.
Okay, well
I've got a couple.
let's go straight into you, Sam. What's your one game you've played a lot of?
I have been starting and continuing my playthrough of Elden Ring.
Oh,
Nice.
we knew this was going to happen, right? We're all slowly working through Elden Ring.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have a very vastly different experience to virtually everyone else.
Yes, I've watched some of Sam's playthrough of Elden Ring, and it is
Because-
very non-traditional.
Do tell.
How I in anything I like playing healers and clerics. Clerics more specifically, but obviously that leads into healers. So what I've done in every Dark Souls game is I play with my two friends, and I am a heal bot, and like you still do your standard Dark Souls stuff, but I've always played, apart from Dark Souls 1,
Yeah.
3-player, and that's how I'm playing Elden Ring.
Interesting.
I've got my two buds, and we are just cruising through. We're doing some content we have to do 3 times over.
Yeah.
Because it's like
That's what I was going to ask about. Yeah, how is that? Yeah.
there's some bits where obviously because they've both finished the game,
Yep.
so I am still getting my exploration stage, that bit. Like I'm still getting to do that bit as I want, but I am obviously heavily guided in the sense that it's like, well, there's still a fair few things we can do here. We should do them first before moving on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they'll be like, oh, at the end of this dungeon, we'll finish it, and then they'll go, oh, I don't need this, so we don't need to do it again. Like, they won't tell me beforehand what we're gonna get or whatever, but they'll be like, well, I don't need it, and he doesn't need it, so I get to do it to experience it, and then we move on to like the next thing.
It's like those leash and reins that parents have for their children, where the kid can wander around within like a certain range.
See, here's the funny thing: it's like that, but then it's also the complete opposite. It's like I'm the one with the reins, and I have to keep the other two in check at some points as well.
Because I watched you do. I think it was like it might have been one of the first mines or dungeons or something, and it was like you ran through it, all three of you. Then you had to run through it again, and then again, all the same level, do the same boss. Does that not get like tiresome? Especially because I also watched you guys wrangle like disconnects and things a bunch of times.
Right, that's the struggling bit at the moment.
Yeah.
Summon someone in, and then within the next 2 minutes, it's like disconnected, and it's like that's really frustrating. But when it's my playthrough is always the first one. And we take longer, and then if we have to do the thing we've just done 2 or 3 times to do it on their worlds, we just blitz because we now know as a 3 what's
that's
there.
true. Yeah.
And it is quite literally like I think we've done probably about 5 or 6 dungeons, and I think we've only done 1 dungeon for all of us.
Okay.
The caves, which have all like the mining resources and stuff, I think we've done for everyone, because everyone wants their upgrade stuff.
See, that's okay. So that like point number 1, that's different to how I feel most people will play on their first playthrough.
Very few. I'm not going to say no one. Very few people are going to play Elden Ring the way I'm playing it.
Because you're like, okay, we've done all the caves, so we've got all of our upgrade stuff out of the way, and it's like, no, that's not how most people are going into that game.
But no, it's going good.
Difficult at all? Like, with 3 of you?
It's not that. Like the only that there is one boss that we fought once, and I went. We died. It slapped us, and I went. We are not fighting him right now. We come back later.
Yeah,
it's the only boss.
That's part of Elden Ring,
and we beat him today.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we went. It's like, well, all we've really got left is that one, and I'm like, I don't feel stronger. Like I am now level 32 instead of like level 18, so I have gained levels, but I don't feel more powerful.
I kind of see what you mean, but I always find it's like a weird. You'll go away, you'll level up, get more gear, get better armor, upgrade your weapon, then you'll come back and be like, I don't feel any stronger, and then you'll try the boss and be like, oh my god, I do like 10 times the damage I did.
Yeah,
before.
I think
when did that even happen?
It does a good job at hiding how much stronger you've become. I think it makes you, you feel like not much has changed, but what you don't realize is your health bar is probably like, twice the size as before.
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday or day before. After our session, I did some Evergels, which are solo only. And that's when I was expecting like the difficulty to kick in and be like, wow, now I'm on my own, because again, because I'm not fighting things one-on-one, taking it slow, I don't really know my rotation, if that makes sense. Like
I see what you mean.
Butter. But I'm pretty sure I completely slapped it on my second or third try. So
are you magic, or are you like using sword and shield?
I am faith. I have a spear in one hand, a shield in the other, and then I swap out the spear for my charm, I guess. And
is that incantations?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I now throw fire, spew fire, dragon breath.
One of the biggest things I've noticed playing through Elden Ring as like a sorcerer mage is getting a cool new spell and being like, oh, it looks awesome, and it's incantation.
Never gonna... Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like I can do, all the magic beams and this, that, and the other, but then you kill some random thing, and it's like, here's a dragon tail spin attack. Here's summon of 3 dragon heads to do this.
It's like faith.
Yeah, it's always faith. Yeah.
The biggest issue I have is like the pyromancy, as I keep calling it, that I started with. Still seems to be like my highest DPS spell.
Oh, that's the same as spellcast. That's the same as
that's
intellect
everything
as well.
Yeah.
My pebbles have done me well.
Yeah, but at least your Pebble is a range spell. Mine is literally. Mine is
You, like,
the
underhand
spell
it.
Combustion from
Yeah.
Dark Souls 1. It's if you are right in front of me where I could hit you with the melee weapon.
Oh, and he
I
like
can
clicks his
burn
fingers.
you.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
I'm
Yeah.
wise. Can't get you. But it uses so little FP and does obviously because it does fire damage.
Yeah.
Like we're going through
Yeah, it
caves
was-
against the guys that like are really resistant, and I'm just like, ha ha, get burned, bitch.
So there's one thing we could talk about is that one of my big complaints that we talked about in our first big Elden Ring, like, I don't know what to call it, discussion, was that the quests were getting too arcane for it being open world. And since we talked about that, they've actually patched the game.
1.03.
Yeah, so that now NPCs just show up on the map. Like, there's a couple in Limgrave that I never found that now when you open the map, when you start, it's like, yeah, there's a guy over here. Maybe go,
that's
maybe
been
go
really
talk to him.
useful.
So I haven't
Yeah.
played the game since they've added this in. Do they display NPCs you haven't met?
Yeah.
I
I don't know if, because I had done a lot of exploring in Limgrave, I don't know if it's like you
Yeah.
have to be in a certain proximity
I was
to
going to
them
say,
for them
yeah.
to flag they're on the map, or if, because sometimes characters will like call out if you're nearby, won't they? But I met Alexander, the pot man. I don't know if you guys have
Yeah.
seen
I
him.
haven't met him, but
Yeah.
I saw him in one of the early trailers, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, I did the same. I saw him in a trailer ages ago, and I completely forgot about him. And then I think he showed up in a boss fight once, and I didn't understand why on my first playthrough. Like, I was like, oh, okay, you're here, I guess, that's fine. But now, yeah, he's just on the map, so you can go and talk to him, which is really helpful. That's a really good quality of life change. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it solves the problem of, like, sometimes NPCs will just disappear, and you don't quite know where they've gone. But it does help, like, you know, now you can be like, oh, I think I've seen everything there is to see in this area, or I can move on. And you can see if there's an NPC you still need to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But another
Very
thing
good
I
for
would...
merchants as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But so that was like, I was like, oh, they're aggressively patching this, because I think they changed a bunch of storylines and things as well. But they haven't done any kind of balancing to the magic yet, which I thought maybe they were going to do a pass at some point, because
Oh no, they've done
a
some
little
big
bit, yeah.
nerfs and buffs. They've nerfed a lot of stuff, but I'm pretty sure they buffed sorceries.
yeah,
Magic feels like the quote unquote easy mode for the game that exists
Yes,
for
it's
a
good.
reason.
It's great.
Like, it's almost
Yeah, it
like
is, yeah.
don't nerf magic, because that's what it's there for. You know.
no, I don't mean I didn't mean necessarily nerf magic. I just meant a rebalance of the magic that is already in the game, because I only
You
played
just
a
use
little
your
bit
Pebble.
post 1.3, but I was still like, oh, Pebble is still 100% far and away the best spell I
Yeah.
have. Like,
Here's
I've
the
gotten a
thing,
bunch of
I've-
exciting spells, and they're just not very good.
I've like not struggled. I know I'm playing with other people, but enemy mobs' health goes up, and I do have to kill things while they're fighting other things. And I've not really fought any non-boss enemy specifically that has ever given me trouble in the slightest yet.
I don't think I did the entire game, to be honest, that I can think of.
Like I was at least expecting like that. Obviously, there's men and they have horses.
Yeah.
And there's non-boss men that have horses, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, like a cavalry unit. This guy may not be a boss, but he's gonna, you know,
Yeah, he's the one to clearly watch out for.
yeah, he
Yeah.
stands above the other guys that some have armor, some don't even have armor. I'm trying to be very non-spoilery because I still don't know if we're.
No, I think that it's
in that
getting
era
to
there.
the point
I think
now
at
where
this point, like,
yeah.
Limgrave is at least fair game,
Yeah.
right? I feel
Yeah.
like. I don't know.
That's the only thing I've done, by the way, is
Yeah.
Limgrave.
Then that's
Yeah.
Limgrave is, I would say at this point, Limgrave, you know, Margit, obviously the boss. Most people
I
have
don't know
seen
who that
that.
is.
Oh, I've gotten
Oh,
to the
you're
point.
still very early.
Yeah,
I
I've
see.
got-
Yeah,
gotten to the
I've
point-
just beaten Leonine Misbegotten.
Oh yeah, at the very south, you went
Yes.
to Castle Morn. Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's getting to the point for me now where I can go on Reddit on the front page, and there's just straight up like massive Elden Ring
Yeah,
spoilers.
it's been more than enough time, and you're like, anyone. It's one of those things, right? Anyone that cares about Elden Ring, like
Has
truly
played it, yeah.
cares, has finished it. Anyone
Yeah.
that's interested is playing it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there have been some bosses. The biggest handicap to multiplayer is no one can mount up,
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a real
which-
pain.
Wait,
yeah, yeah.
really?
which
Yeah, you
makes
can't mount up. Yeah.
Tree Sentinel was a little bitch, but the Night Cavalry guys, the Night Reapers,
Oh, tough. Yeah.
yeah, when you can't mount, like those guys are so mobile and have such sweeping attacks that it's like we're just there, just like, right, we need a dodge, and then hit him in that like half a second frame that we've got to do some
Yeah,
damage.
It's same
Yeah.
even with spells. I found those guys kind of difficult because they were always running to the left or right, and the spells
Yeah.
don't have great tracking. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's one of the things that now I'm playing through as a Magic user. I kind of feel like I wish there was Elden Ring bosses. Feel like they're either ram your face into a brick wall hard or an absolute pushover, and it's all on you how difficult
Yeah.
or easy you want to make them.
Yeah.
And I
That's
kind of
why-
wish there was a little bit more of a middle ground that
Doing it
Mhm.
you could
multiplayer,
explore.
we'll fight a boss, and I'll be like, this would be hard solo.
Yeah, yeah.
But we
yeah.
went into a cave, and it was just like two demi-human chieftains with a ton of little demi-human guys, and I was like, if you're solo, I think this is hard. Just
Yeah.
being in an arena with like 10 dudes after you.
Yeah.
Although I think that one had a thing in front of it, which was like not in front of a lot of the doors.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. But what I mean is, if you summoned a guy and you're no longer solo, right?
I mean, I did it solo on my mage, but I had already done it on my sword and shield character with a friend.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew what I was expecting, and
Plus,
mage is
yeah,
terrible.
difficulty does go down once you know what to expect as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel
So
like the middle ground you're talking about to make bosses easier would be literally like an easier mode for the game, right? As in, like, you can take more hits from this boss before you die to give you more of a chance to understand the fight. But I don't think that goes against what they want for their own game, right? They don't want that.
Well,
You could
but
have
the whole
some-
game is like in universe easy modes, right? Like summoning and
Yeah.
using magic or going and grinding or whatever. But I just feel like there are so many bosses where there's no. I had very few bosses in Elden Ring that I can think of where I was like, that was a good, decent challenge. You know, that was a good. I felt like
Yeah.
I walked in and it was really hard, and then over the course of like half an hour, I figured out his moves and I beat him. And the rest were either like I rolled them without even really thinking about it. I just like brute forced my way through it.
Yeah.
Or there's a couple late game where I was like, I would never do this solo. There's just not. There's no chance
think-
I'm good. So I could grind this for the next 8 hours, but I don't wanna. So
You could, and it's like I feel like a lot of weapons, like unless you like know what you're doing and have the Ashes of War and stuff and all of that, but
Mhm.
most weapons R1 and R2 just don't do enough damage to warrant grinding your head against a wall on a boss. Because you have to hit the boss so many times.
The problem I ran
Yeah,
into during
I
we
see
talked
what
about
you
it last time, but the problem I ran into specifically with Greatsword is I never got a turn to attack
Yeah.
when
yeah,
every
yeah.
boss ended up killing me in 1 to 2 hits.
That's
Yeah.
the first ever jail I did was a guy that was so fast I couldn't hit him with my weapon.
Yeah, I know the
Just-
guy, the look like claw guy.
Scurries
yeah.
across
Yeah,
the floor on all
just-
fours.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
couldn't hit him.
yeah.
So I literally just killed him with all spells. I was like, "Fuck you."
Yeah,
I did the same.
yeah.
You got to the point where I think I killed him with the Greatsword by doing jumping heavy attacks. Because that was
That's
like,
what I've seen is the strat
yeah.
for heavy weapons is
And that-
only jump attack.
and that was the only thing that really like staggered him. And then when I was playing with Laura, the strat for like the entire game was run at enemies and jumping heavy slash, and it's just like, is this still fun?
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, it's like, and I feel like, especially coming off Sekiro, where all those bosses, with some exceptions, I felt like the fights were so much fun and so engaging to learn. I
Yeah.
feel like that was like slightly missing here. I don't know.
When-
It made me miss that very controlled Souls experience instead
There's
of.
that like
RPG.
bullet sponginess, right? that
Yeah.
you get in games where you're like, it's cool to have to learn a boss, but if I learn a boss and that means I can kill him in 2 hits, that's cool. because
Yeah.
I'm getting rewarded
And that's
for
and that's
learning
why
patterns.
that's why Sekiro was so great, is because of the poise meat. Was it poise in that game?
I think
What was
it
it
was
called?
something like that.
It
It's
was
like
basically poise.
stagger
Yeah,
or
essentially
poise.
stagger or poise or whatever. It was like that game rewarded you for like mastery of a fight by being able to just like skip the phase entirely. It's like, oh, you read all this guy's moves like 4 times in a row. You've only done half his health, but we're just gonna give you the rest of that phase because clearly you know what you're doing at this point. And that's, yeah, I feel like that's sort of missing here. I don't know.
People make fun.
Whenever I talk about Elden Ring, I feel like I get really negative all of a sudden. But it's, I
I
loved it.
think
I
it's-
just
the game's great. I'm enjoying it. Obviously, I have a very different experience to everyone else, but it's almost like it just has some glaringly obvious issues every now and then. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't expect this from you. Because
Because
I hold it in that high regard.
I think that might be it. Yeah, it's that you only complain because you care kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
with me, where like I've played a little, well, I've played some of Dark Souls 1, but I have been really enjoying this game. Like the only complaint I really have is that the multiplayer is a pain. But I'm like, even though I'm doing like easy mode, I have like tried. Like I have got a sword now that I am enjoying using as well. But it has been fantastic so far, and I'd say like I would recommend anyone to play it. Even like I would say like go in knowing what you want to do. Like if you want to go easy, go mage. But yeah, it's so fun.
I still stand by.
And
There's nothing in this game that
I
I
don't
couldn't
think-
get out of a normal linear Souls game. I don't know. I just
I
I've been
think
loving it.
here's my big thing on the exploration and why I don't care that I'm quote unquote missing out by doing multiplayer. Is the open world doesn't do anything. All it does is prevent me from maybe finding the dungeons, which are the really cool bits with the classic Dark Souls level design.
yeah.
The open world isn't helping me get to those. It's preventing me because there's just a good chance I miss it.
That was my takeaway. Instead of really cool connecting areas or something, it's like it's just a field now. You just run across a field, and that's like, it's like it doesn't have the same interesting
Well,
like
the exact
kind of design that the others did.
the exact same thing happened for me with Breath of the Wild, where I really like Breath of the Wild. Same way I still really like Elden Ring. But as I reflect upon that game, you would explore this open world and find cool bits out here and there and do some really interesting stuff. But then you had these core dungeons in Breath of the Wild that you get to, and you'd just be like, yeah, I kind of miss the proper dungeons from older Zelda games.
Yeah.
And this is almost the same to a T.
I have the opposite in Elden Ring. I think I've said about this before, but the open world, like I've enjoyed this 10 times more than I am Dark Souls 1, because if I'm feeling like I'm struggling, or even though I just want to log on for a bit and just explore, there's always like ruins or dungeons to like kind of go around and find. I've been really enjoying it. Like there's merchants, there's like, there's always something for me to be doing. Whereas in Dark Souls 1, it feels like I'm dreading going back to that game now, because I'm like, I'm in the middle of Blighttown. Not
You are at a low point. Yeah.
I need to like if I want to leave, I've got to like traverse back to where I've gone through to like
but
maybe
I like
grind
that.
up.
I miss that sense of adventure.
I don't like that.
The
No,
first
no.
time you go
I'm
from
on board. Sorry, you go first.
No, you go. It's fine.
I was gonna say I'm on board with games. If they're gonna have fast travel, need to have it early, not late.
Nah,
Yeah.
I some games, but I think I loved that I had to, I had to commit to a place if I was gonna go there. It's like I could back out, but that's gonna be more trouble than it's worth. I'm just gonna actually learn how to beat this place.
I think Dark Souls 2 had that from the start, right? You could fast travel to bonfires in Dark Souls 2.
I don't know. I've never played it.
Yeah, you could
I
fast
think
travel
so.
to zones. Yeah.
You could. I don't think it was every bonfire, but
To the
something
start
like
of like big areas.
yeah.
Okay, I'm
See,
gonna
I would love that, but yeah.
I'm gonna start wrapping this up so we can talk about Elden Ring for another hour. Is there anything else
Yeah.
you wanted to say, Sam, before we move on?
Okay, so the reason I haven't played any Horizon this week, despite wanting to,
Oh yeah,
is my PS4 just straight crashed,
yeah.
and now it will turn on but will not boot up. and I cannot get it to boot up in safe mode either.
Yeah.
So I have ordered some bits, and at the start of the week, I took apart my PS4, cleaned it out, and did basically every troubleshooting thing I could manually do myself. And I've come to the conclusion that it's most likely a GPU error or a software error, of which neither I can do anything about, and I have to send my PS4 away for repairs.
I appreciate your dedication, because I would have been like, oh, PS5 time. Just like throw it out the window.
As if I could go and get my hands on a PS5 right now. Like, if that was an option, then it might have been an option.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But it's like, how would I even go about getting a PS5?
Is it still...
Josh has one, maybe you can borrow it.
Yeah, you can borrow mine. Absolutely not.
Are they still not like just available? You can't just go and buy a PS5.
I believe it's easier, but it's still hard.
Literally, one of my dad's friends, like, he was speaking to him, because my dad's helping out with his like gardening and stuff, and he's saying about how at the moment he's making more money from scalping PlayStation 5s than he is from his job.
Son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
He's part of the problem.
Bastard,
I was just there, just like, Dad, you cannot work in this man's garden any longer.
What a scumbag, yeah.
You can't be friends with him anymore, I'm sorry.
I remember seeing...
But like, at the same time, I was like, I understand the hustle. Like, if there's money to be made, people are going to try and do it. If not him, someone else will. But at the same, in that moment, I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think a few months ago I got an email from PlayStation being like, "Oh, there's a lottery that you could enter to try and buy a PlayStation 5," and I was like, no, there's no good exclusives out yet that I'm like frothing at the mouth for.
It's getting there slowly. Well, what have you played this week, Steve?
I have played 2 games. The first one is the Mario Kart 8 DLC.
Ooh.
I've done several of that. It's basically just 8 new tracks. I will say some of them are very simple. Like, you could tell that they were very like from the earlier games, and some of them are really complicated to the point where it's like you're going around the track twice and you take different routes each time, and then on the third time you go back the way you just came. So you're seeing races go, the other way, and it's very disorienting. And there's like a ninja one which is like overly complex.
Well, those are the ones from the mobile game.
I think so, yeah. It was the Paris one and the Ninja one that were like really...
There's a third one. There's a Japan one or something as well. Japan something.
Tokyo one, yeah.
Tokyo, yeah. That's also from the mobile game that no one likes.
Yeah, those ones are... But the others are like maybe a little too smidge simple. And also there's no anti-grav mechanic in these ones at all.
Oh, that's a shame.
Which, yeah, in all the other ones that they've taken from older games, they've put in the anti-grav mechanic in some way. But not for these ones. But yeah, it's just good. Like, compared to Chocobo Racing, which I played last week, it's like, Mario Kart. It just feels good to play.
Mario Kart is
like,
king.
Yeah.
Feels smooth. It makes me excited because we've got new courses coming till the end of next year. Well, till next year somewhen. So it makes me excited to see what courses they're going to do, because like the one that was missing that I was like thinking about was always Coconut Mall, and they've added it to this time.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
I saw some streams of that.
I'm kind of like wondering, like, well, if they've taken like the iconic ones already, what are they going to add? Are they going to add any like brand new courses?
Oh, they'll be.
Yeah.
They've obviously got enough planned out for 6 waves. So
have they announced what the tracks are? We don't know. It's just
not for the future Pat ones yet. Only the 8 that's released. But yeah, it's just Mario Kart. It's a shame there's no more characters that they're adding, or like maybe a new item or something. But it's good. Mario Kart's always a good time.
Yep.
There's not too much to say about that. And the other game I played,
make Smash but Mario Kart. That's my
yeah.
Yeah. The other game I played is Tunic.
Ooh.
The Fox Zelda game.
I did it again. I need to type in Tunic game. Otherwise, it's going to get pictures of people in tunics.
Yeah, I did that last week.
That game is very charming. I will say, it feels like you want to go in kind of blind. Well, not blind as in completely, but don't watch
use your eyes.
Yeah, like a blindfold.
But you put you in the game, and it doesn't tell you anything. You just have to go, and very early on, I do have some complaints about it. Like, very early on, it gives you a stick for a weapon, and you're going around, and it's it's difficult, and then you kind of like eventually you get a sword, and eventually you get a shield. Like usually in Zelda games, it's like you get a sword and shield very early on and can deal with stuff. Um, this game it's very charming, and the music is great. I will say though, it's difficult. It's not easy. Like enemies have health bars. It feels like it's. I'm noticing a lot of things from like Elden Ring or Dark Souls games in this game. Like you set like there are checkpoints which you respawn at if you die, kind of like the sites of grace in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And, like you've got to kind of like learn the combat very quickly on because it is difficult. As I said, like enemies will come and attack you. But there's a lot to explore. I haven't got too far into it. And also, there's no, as I said, there's no tutorials, there's no instructions. What they do instead is they have like booklet pages. You know, like back in the day when you'd get like Zelda in your N64, it'd come in for like an instructional booklet.
Yeah.
It has like pages like that, but it's half the game is not in English. It's like in this rune text, and so you kind of have to piece together the instructions. Some of it is in English, and even some items are not in English.
This sounds really weird.
So
it is.
Yeah, is this the good time to announce that I also played this and I did not enjoy my time with it very much?
You did not.
Yeah.
You did not.
I did not. No.
Tune in to this as well. Let's go in as a double. Chime in. I'm sorry.
Tunic in.
Yeah, Tunic in.
Well, yeah, it's like Steve said. It starts off. It gives you a stick, and it's insanely difficult. And I was like, if this is the game, I don't want to play this. This isn't fun. And then it gets a little better once you get your Link sword. Yeah. But the combat still never felt very good. The thing that kept occurring to me as I was playing it was, Human falls flat.
Yeah.
That's how your guy feels to control, almost. He has this weird. It's not that bad, but it reminds me of that in that there's this weird like acceleration and like sluggishness to his movement that feels very
he does feel slow, yes.
Yeah, and it just feels very awkward and like you'll die in like 2 or 3 hits to most enemies, at least at the start. And some of them have like big, wide, and it's like you get a dodge with some iframes, but that didn't feel reliable to me 100% of the time. And that was kind of awkward. Like Steve said, you end up finding these little pages from like a manual, and that's my favorite part. The presentation of this game is fantastic. It's really, really, it looks really cute. It's old school Zelda to like a fault, except I guess with a lot of Elden Ring. And the fact that you're finding little like scanned pages of a manual with sometimes biro notes like written on them for like clues and things to how to beat dungeons and things is very, very cool.
That's kind of cute. Yeah.
I just feel like this has hit at exactly the wrong time because I just got done playing a massive open world game that doesn't explain anything. And I walked up to an item in this, and it doesn't. Yeah, like Steve said, it's in its own language, and then it doesn't tell you what it does. And I was like, I don't want to do this again.
Not today.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the timing for me. I would give this more of a go. I've dropped it for now because it's another difficult game. Like, I'm doing Elden Ring at the moment.
Yeah.
I'll maybe come back to this. I thought it was going to be like a nice little charming break from Elden Ring.
Yes, I did exactly the same. Yeah.
But it's not, and it's like, okay, I'll do one difficult game at a time. It's on Game Pass though, so you can play it. It's readily available.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try again. I also got a lot of what's the puzzle game where you rotate? What's it called?
Puzzle game where you rotate.
Fez. Yes, Fez. I got a lot of Fez vibes where there's like. It feels like there's more going on in this world than is like because on the surface it's very Zelda-y, and it's like, oh, save the princess. Well, it's not save the princess. Whatever it is, it doesn't explain that.
You don't know.
Yeah, find a treasure or something is what it says. Then there's like these weird, like columns everywhere that I'm finding. That's kind of like this looks kind of out of place, and there's this weird, there's like veins of some weird rune thing running throughout the world, and I'm like, I bet there's a bunch of secrets in this.
Hyper Light Drifter did something similar as well, where it's like, here's the game, you play the game, but also occasionally you find some secret room, you press X on a thing, and a bunch of gibberish language pops up, and you're like, I'll let Reddit solve this.
Yeah.
This game also, it feels like it shows you a lot, and it's like, oh, come back here when you've got some way to get past this obstacle, or some way to like hop a gap or deal with this thing. There's a lot of like go back, and going to the sword, it felt very linear in a way, like you kind of forces you that way. Then afterwards it was like, oh, I've got too many areas to go back to.
Yes, I felt that. I was like, oh, I'll play this the opposite of Elden Ring, and I'll just pick a direction and keep going, and it just kept letting me go. I was like into a different area, and there was a bunch of enemies that felt really. I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here, but I'm gonna keep going. And it was like, I was like, yeah, all right, it's just letting me. So I bet there's a load of weird sequence breaks you could do in this game.
I think classic Zeldas were very similar in that it locked off a bunch of stuff until you had certain items, but you could just wander for ages.
Yeah.
I think this is a game that I'd like to watch someone play, like maybe who's good, like really good at these games. But for me, I'm like, right now, no, I don't want to play it right now since I've still got Elden Ring. And it looks like it should be charming and like Zelda, like as you expect Zelda, like a certain easiness with it, but it's not.
Yeah, I guess not following any of the marketing. I guess it's on me that I was expecting a nice, chill Zelda-esque experience, and I actually got like Elden Ring, but cute.
Oh, again, classic Zelda is quite hard. Like Link's Awakening and stuff like that. They're not easy games. They're quite tricky.
Yeah, it's just I just felt like I was done with the combat almost an hour into the game.
Yeah, that's a shame.
And I saw like, you know, though it kept dropping more enemies and they were harder, and I was like, no, I just don't want to do this right now. It also does the really annoying thing. It's like, you know, it's like a little cutesy isometric view, right, top down. So it does the thing where like, oh, if you run behind this pillar, there's a ladder and you can climb down it, and that's a secret. So you end up just like smashing your face along all of the walls in the game just to try and find like, oh, there's a secret passage here. It's behind a wall. And then it does a thing where it's like, I think I'm running the right direction. I can't see my character anymore. So am I stuck against a wall or what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I can't be bothered. And I feel like it's like such a disservice because the game is so, it's so good looking. And I love the idea of finding, bits of a manual to like an old NES game as you're exploring, but I was like, this is just exactly this is exactly what I'm not looking to play right now after coming off of Elden Ring.
Yeah, you're looking for a chill game to play, and it's just here's the same type of game kind of again. It's like, no, please no.
Speaking of those hidden walls, though, I will say that when you do like little almost like mini dungeons, there's oftentimes you'll like exit it and it will be like, oh, you could have got this way. It feels like, you know, very easily if you had known there was like a secret path there.
Yeah, there's a couple of those like, I found.
If you play it a second time through, maybe you can like speed run it a bit more. And
yeah.
That was interesting to me. Yeah, that's all I've played.
Have you played anything else, Will?
So I tried Tunic. And then I tried. I saw that there was a expansion released for Inscription called Kaycee's mod.
Ooh, yes.
Has got it going on.
Yes, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a lot of comments to that effect. Yeah. So Kaycee's mod is incredibly confusingly named, like mini expansion to Inscription, to where you essentially play the first act of that game, except it's an endless like roguelite version of the cabin, of Leshy's cabin.
Yeah, so I'm going to preface again very quickly. This isn't actually a mod. This is an update for the game.
Yeah, it's very, everyone talking about
people are getting confused.
Oh, it's like a workshop mod, right? And it's like, no, it's not even an expand. You don't buy it. It's just an update.
There was even more confusion as well, because before this came out, there was a mod. It was on the workshop as a mod.
So
confusing.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. But essentially, all you need to know is it's a free update to Inscription, and it makes it so that you have to complete the game to access it, or I think they just put a cheat code in or something you can do. So if you want to jump right into this, you can go ahead. And it essentially replicates the first act almost of the game, except it changes it into a roguelite version, and it has things like almost like skulls from Halo, which make the game more difficult.
Okay.
And you to progress, to like meta progress this game, you have to activate every skull has a certain difficulty modifier value. So it'll be like, oh, you can only have 2 items instead of 3, 5 points of plus 5 points of difficulty, right? And it's like, okay, to beat level 1, you have to beat the game with 5 points, so you just 1, then 15, and then so on and so forth. And every time you beat it, you unlock a couple of cards, and you unlock a like journal entry from the maker of this mod, which has more story. I haven't gotten very far. And it in some ways it feels like everything I wanted from Inscription, right? I was one of the people that was quite disappointed when, minor spoilers for Inscription, the first act is not the only thing in this game. If you've only seen trailers and you've only seen battling the guy in the cabin, there is more to this game than that.
Well, a lot of people were straight up, they felt missold on what they had purchased when they bought this one thing, and was like, yeah, I'll go for a good roguelike card game, you know, and this looks interesting.
And it's not really that.
The game doesn't stay that.
And so
the game takes you on a fucking journey.
yeah. But I always sort of felt the best part was the cabin. That was the most interesting part. I liked everything else.
It was so good. That was the thing. It was like the Inscription is like a 9 out of 10 game, but the first part is like an 11 out of 10.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
So good.
It never quite lives up to that first like 5 or 6 hours, or however long it takes you to beat the first act. It never quite lives up to that again, but it's never bad. I never didn't enjoy any part of Inscription.
Doesn't go Resident Evil 8 on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the first part of the game is straight up fleshed out more than the rest of it. That's all there is to it, I believe. I know it is the better part of the game.
It does, yeah.
But it feels like
there
was more work on that part compared to the other parts.
So in some ways, this is exactly what I always wanted, which is just more of that first part. Just make that first part into its own thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it doesn't feel like enough to me, because you sit down, you have your starting deck again, and then there is some new stuff in there, but you still end up, you go through the same boss fights. You fight the angler, the trapper, the miner, and then you fight the final boss, including the moon. The only thing is there's no, at least I haven't found, so I haven't played an awful lot. I think I've played about 10 hours of this total. It's just the first bit without any of the almost like cheesy strategies that you could that the game kind of wanted you to use in the actual game. So there's there was that one card that was like every time it dies it gets stronger. So and that goes Ouroboros, and it goes across runs. So if you're really stuck, eventually that will be like a free, unstoppable monster that you can just use to win the game, because the game is pushing you to complete this first bit.
Yeah, it was good at making you think that you were doing really well and breaking the game, but it's like that's what it intended for you to do.
It wanted you to do it. Yeah. And there was like, if you had the there were creatures that had like death touch. I can't remember what it's called. It's like poison or something in this, and it's like if it deals damage, it kills whatever it damages, and you could use that to just beat the final boss. And I think the guy even comments like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
Or if you drop the stink down on the moon to make it deal 0 damage, he's like, "How does that even work?"
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and it's like, so like now the moon now it has a modifier, the moon on it, that's like you can't poison it to death, you can't reduce its attack or something. And
it's got to be a real game now.
It's and in some ways, it feels like it's almost lost something in that I can't. You don't get those wacky, like the death cards that you create yourself. They're gone.
It makes sense that they're gone if that's because that's tied to it's all tied to the story. Yeah.
So it's like it's more Inscription, and the first part of Inscription is still really fun. But it feels like this is now edition of Inscription, it feels like halfway between the point of the original game, which was like, we've made this fun card game, but ultimately we want you to finish this part of the game so you can go on and see the story, and a full-on roguelite card deck building game, something like Slay the Spire or Monster Train or whatever, and it's just not as in depth as those other games. So it's existing in this weird middle ground where I'm like, this is fun, but I don't see the like synergies or the fun strategy in order to make a really fun game out of it. It's not like a forever game, like a Slay the Spire.
Is this a good foundation to build some like good DLC onto?
Yes, but I've also heard this is it. This is the final update.
Oh, okay. So
which is really disappointing. Because you play this again, and I'm like, this card battling mechanic is just so fun. Like, I wish there was more of it. I wish there was, like incorporate some of the mechanics that come later into this part of the game, and maybe there'd be something here. But I just feel like this is like a you should try, if you liked Inscription, you should try this. But I don't think this is more than like a couple of sessions of, oh, that's neat, and then you move on, which is really disappointing because it's still the Inscription card game is pretty good for something that's like it is almost not important in the end to playing through Inscription. It's still really fun to play that card game. I just wish there was more like strategy in this, and there is some. They have added some new card types to this game. There's a couple of new mechanics and like keywords almost, which adds some interesting stuff. But I don't know. I feel like in other games you'll be like, it's Slay the Spire, you'll boot up and you'll start to get these cards and you're like, oh, I see the synergies and the strategies like emerging as I play, sort of thing. And this one was like, I got the Mantis God, I buffed the shit out of him, and then I one-shot the moon, and it was like, yeah, okay, I guess I could do that like 5 more times, but I don't know if I'll stick with that.
Maybe it was he never intended to flesh it out this much, so
Yeah, it does kind of feel it. Yeah, it almost feels like maybe this does just fall apart under this game made into its own thing. The mechanics don't actually hold up all that well, but yeah, neat idea. You should try it if you liked Inscription. Maybe you'll get more out of it than I did, but I was just a bit disappointed in the end, I think.
Did you ever play Pony Island?
No, I've still not. Everyone keeps saying you should go
really
back and try
should.
it.
If you like Inscription, you should really play Pony Island. For anyone that doesn't know, it's the game that this same developer made before this one. Where I think it might be on Game Pass. If it's not on there now, it's been removed. Because I definitely played it on there. But it's one of those games where you play. Sorry, you go.
So Inscription for me was like, it endeared itself to me with this really fun card game, and then the rest of the game happened, which is is Pony Island like a game that I can enjoy? Because I'm not sure I'm all about this. Like, oh, it's weird and meta, and I don't know if that's for me.
It's hard to say because some of it might be like if you go not too spoiler, but if you go backwards, play Inscription then this. I don't know if maybe,
now I know.
Yeah.
I would say I've watched a decent chunk of Pony Island. I would say like there's not the game it's based on or whatnot is very simple. It's not like a really fun card game. It's kind of like you're jumping over stuff with your pony.
It's a lot simpler. Yeah. It's probably the best way to put it. But I had fun with Pony Island.
I'll maybe try it out. Okay.
It's not very long. It's really not very long.
Yeah.
It might be on Game Pass. I'm not sure. It's on the Xbox.
I just checked. It's not on Game Pass anymore.
Oh, that's a shame. It definitely was at one point. That's cool. I guess I'll go into what I've been playing then. I was like gearing up to play Tunic, and then I think just as I was literally going to go boot it up, the post came and Stranger in Paradise Final Fantasy Origins turned up.
Oh yeah.
Let me just find a picture quickly. It's Stranger of Paradise, I think. Yeah, Stranger of Paradise. So I've been playing.
You stream some of this.
So is this all some elaborate joke, Josh, or is this a real game? What is this? What's going on?
Okay. I think I love this game just because it's so stupid. There's, from what people know about the game already, like the chaos memes, that came out of that one demo. That is the entirety of his character. It's not just like a bit that's taken out of context. He hates chaos. And the whole setup for the game.
I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I can sympathize.
I'm gonna do some like early game spoilers. Like 1 hour in.
Yeah, go for it.
The game starts, and you have your main character Jack. He's the chaos guy. He's walking towards like a kingdom, like a castle, in a field. He's going down a road. And he's wearing like a tank top and jeans or something. He looks like he's just a dude.
Yeah.
And there's like ye old medieval people around and stuff. And he's just so out of place. And then the other two characters you can see in the picture here. It's a guy called Ash. He's the guy on the right. And another guy called Jed. And they both come out of nowhere again, wearing normal clothes. Basically walk up to Jack, and he's like, I'm going to kill Chaos. And the other two guys go, oh, you're here to kill Chaos too? Yeah, we'll help you. And they all bro fist, they all bump fists, and it fades to black. And,
Oh, hell yeah.
and that's like your party introduction basically.
That's
And then I think it fades to black, and white text comes up and says, the gang weren't allowed to go to Chaos straight away, so they had to hunt monsters for a bit. 2 weeks have passed. And it's so weird. And then it like shows them on a boat, and again Jack's just on this boat, and I think he straight up says like, when are we gonna kill Chaos? And at this point I'm just like belly laughing because it's so on the nose.
Yeah.
And they're all just mates all of a sudden, and then it time skips again, and you're just at the chaos.
You're at chaos.
You're at chaos, and it's
found chaos. Yeah,
and it's so bizarre. And then so you go through the first dungeon, and you fight. I think it's Garlemald, who's like a character from Final Fantasy 1, and he's in the first.
Isn't he like the end boss?
Yeah, he's the end boss of the first dungeon, and he was in the first demo as well. And you kill him, and he turns into that anime girl on the screen, and it's just like, okay, what is going on? And she basically says, yeah, I was with a group of people who also wanted to kill Chaos, but we came to the conclusion that Chaos isn't a thing you can actually kill. Chaos is all-encompassing. It's everywhere. It's not a single thing that manifests and you can kill. So I'm sorry, main character, you cannot kill Chaos. And then there's a 5-second pause where you see him like computing what she's just said about there's no chaos, and then he looks at her, he goes, bullshit, and he does a 180, he walks off, pulls out a mobile phone, puts in earphones, and starts blaring heavy metal music as he walks away. It is
Okay, this game sounds awesome.
Oh yeah.
it's that certain level of like perfect irony.
Do you think is it intentional? Is it because
That's what I've seen people asking. They're like, they can't have meant for it to be like this, right? And I'm like, from what I've seen, I'm like, I think if they haven't, how have they managed this?
I'm in
This is too much.
I'm in far enough now where I think it might be intentional because of like some weird story reasons that I don't know yet. The first the first things that have started sort of making me think this is obviously a bit weird is the second dungeon of the game I was going through, and I was like, this looks really familiar, but I can't think of why. But I kept going through, and then about halfway through it clicked that I was actually doing the Satasha dungeon from Final Fantasy 14 backwards.
I watched you do that, yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, I was like, is this based on Satasha, the dungeon? And then,
I saw the references when you mentioned it.
yeah, so I was doing that, and so if anyone doesn't know, the first dungeon in FF14 is Satasha, and it's the one that you see most of in that game, because whenever you queue up, you know, most people can do the first dungeon. Not everyone can
would
do.
I have done this one?
You would have done
this one?
you would have done
It's
this.
level
Yeah,
15.
you would have
Yeah,
done
and
this.
you have to do it.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like a
That's weird.
pirate cave basically.
Yes, I know that one. Yeah.
But I got halfway through and I was like, that's cool. This is based on Satasha. And then as I started doing it more, I was like, no, this is exactly the same. It is the same dungeon going through backwards. Like the same locations, the same enemies. You're fighting like Sahajins and bats and stuff.
So and it's like, this isn't tongue in cheek. No.
No,
Do they reference this?
Nope.
No one brings that
Nope.
up.
they say you're going to a cave.
There's not even
to
like
find...
this is weirdly familiar kind
Nope.
of comment.
And
What?
And so, without spoiling anything else, the few dungeons I've done after that, I'm pretty sure every dungeon I'm doing is based on a different Final Fantasy game.
Oh,
That's cool.
I'm so
Okay,
in.
now I want to play. Yeah.
Oh god.
So
Although,
But then why is this guy so dumb? If this is like a love letter to Final Fantasy,
I don't know
what
yet.
is
I
going on?
don't know.
Yeah.
I will say, from watching your stream of it, the Sash Tasha, whatever dungeon, that's what I call it.
Yeah,
I
Sash
can't remember
Tasha.
its name. It is so bright and colourful in this game, and yet the screen still looks so dark, and you can barely see
Oh yeah,
anything.
so one key thing to note is this game looks and runs horribly.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's like I chose what do you
You're
call
playing
it? Like
on PS5 as well.
yeah, playing on PS5, playing performance mode. I'm like, yeah, give me that frame rate, baby. And then the first fight you
on
do is
PC, is it?
I think it is on PC. It's on like Epic Game Store.
Oh.
Yes, it's Epic Game Store exclusive on PC.
Uh,
believe.
Okay.
but it does a lot of cool stuff. It's really hard. It's like halfway between like Souls combat and then like Devil May Cry combat. I'll try and like explain. I won't bore you with the details, but essentially, you pick a class or a job, and then you have, I think there's like 10 different weapons which all attack differently, and then the jobs will determine like what abilities you can use. And
what weapons you can use as well, right?
yeah, but I've gotten to the point now where in the early game it's like, okay, you're a swordsman, you can only use a sword. You are a marauder, you can only use an axe. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, you're a lancer, you can only use a polearm.
Yep.
And then when you unlock like Dragoon by going through the Lancer, it's like, here's Dragoon, you start at level 1 again. Here are some new abilities, but also you can now use a polearm, or you can use an axe or a sword. So you can,
Okay.
and it looks like it's designed in the way that when you get towards late game, it's like, okay, go nuts. Like, start combining different abilities, different weapons, do what you want.
Yeah.
See, that intrigued me when I was watching you play. Like, the talent tree system really looked interesting.
It's
but
really
then I
good,
saw the
yeah.
gear, that you had like a gear menu of like so many of the same gear, and I was like, nope, I'm out again.
The gear is absolutely pointless to the point where I wouldn't even worry about it. So
okay.
Essentially, you get gear so rapidly. They just chuck stuff at you, right? I don't even think about it. I open up the equipment screen, I hit my button for optimize equipment, and then I leave.
Then you move on.
Yeah, and it's like every
So
so often I'll change my gear, put on the new shit, carry on, do a boss fight and die, open up equipment, optimize gear, try again. So
I guess what the question is this a masterfully crafted, sort of takedown of dumb Final Fantasy tropes, or is this an accident of people that don't know what they're doing? And what is going on here? How are you enjoying this? Is this fun?
I'm really enjoying this.
Are you enjoying it because it's a good game, or because it's so
Is
dumb?
the gameplay loop good?
I'm enjoying
Does
this
it
game.
feel good
I'm
to
enjoying this game a lot because I'm all on board for the dumb story, and the gameplay loop is really fun. If you've played Neo or Neo 2,
I like Neo.
if you like Neo, you'll like this. I think Neo 2 had the exact same gear system that is in this that Steve's describing.
Yeah. I remember optimizing a lot in Neo, actually.
You can probably optimize in this. I just choose not to because it's just too hard and too heavy. But yes, the combat is it's really good when you get it going. You have like an MP system where your normal attacks build up MP, and then you can
cool.
you can spend it on your bigger attacks. And then similar to, I guess, like Sekiro, you have yourself and your enemies have a health bar and a stagger bar, and you can kill the enemy by obviously killing the enemy, or you can do certain things to lower their stagger to 0, at which point you can insta kill them. And there is blood in this game, but a lot of it is like red crystals instead to like symbolize blood. But it's still quite gory for like what is a Final Fantasy game. Like, you know, the little tonberries with the little knives that can one hit kill you. If you get stagger on them, you just walk up to it and you kind of like you pat it on the head and it explodes into blood and crystals, and it's like, oh my god, that's a Final Fantasy like cute monster.
You just killed.
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit skewed because I watched I watched you play that, and then today I watched someone play Doom, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's nothing.
It's nothing, but it's still, this is the most violent Final Fantasy.
Compared to Final Fantasy, yeah.
Like, you know, there's the Sahajin, like lizard men. You know, you're used to playing Final Fantasy games and you kill them and they fade out or they just, fall over or something. You do the insta kill on this, you pick it up, you put it over your shoulders and you perform a backbreaker and it explodes into blood and crystals, and it's like, oh yeah.
What the fuck?
Now
I'm 100% more interested in this than I was.
I can't wait to play
this conversation.
I can't wait to play more of this game. I'm having so much fun. I don't know where the story's going. I put out a tweet the other day of like a minor character that's turned up, and she's like, "Nice to meet you. I fucking hate chaos." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go. We found a wife for the protagonist." It's just I'm in love with this game because it's doing more of what I wanted it to do. I didn't want it to be bad. I wanted it to be like campy, almost like if you've seen Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
It's like that, but Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's like, he turns like, ha ha, I'm gonna kill chaos, ha ha. And I'm like, yeah, you do that.
That's a good one. That's good. You should, yeah.
So yeah, it's not for everyone, but it ticks all certain boxes for me.
Mate.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already gonna play it eventually. It's a fun fantasy game, but
I kind of want to play it.
I want to play it now.
It's like I say, it's got some heavy caveats. Like, if you play on console on PS5, the game does look bad most of the time. It already looks terrible, and then it starts running terribly, and you're like, come on.
Oh, we're better than this.
We're better than this.
It's worth it, but you reckon it's worth it?
I reckon it. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Oh man.
And
nice.
It's just like I say, you play with one weapon for a while, and you're like a dragoon or something. And you're like, no, I'm going to play Black Mage for a while. And then you start tossing massive fireballs and like water guards at enemies. And then you're like, oh, actually, I'm going to be a Dark Knight. And then you pull out a big greatsword, and you can do all this like mid-combat as well. It's really sick. It's fun.
That sounds really good.
It's certainly cemented in my mind.
Because it sounds like it's... Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, after playing a lot of Elden Ring, it's definitely cemented in my mind that I prefer more of an action game kind of thing, like Bayonetta or this over like Souls games.
It sounds like, as somebody who played Final Fantasy XIV and almost rolled my eyes out of my head every time a cutscene occurred, this sounds absolutely like right up my alley. It sounds perfect for me because I am the same. I'm so fucking done with. I'm like, maybe I am. What's his name? Main character. Maybe I'm him. Maybe I'm like, I don't care about any of this bullshit. Just point me at the nearest god. I want to kill them. Like, that's all I wanted out of Final Fantasy.
It's just, it's so weird and doesn't take itself seriously at all either. And like, no one seems to care. It's like I said in the first like half an hour, you're three dudes in tank tops and jeans in a big ye old city. There's like the king with his crown and big regal outfit. And he's like, we're looking for the 4 warriors of light to defeat chaos, and then the 3 of you, and he says like, the 4 warriors of light with their 4 crystals, and there's 3 of you, and you pull out 3 like black glowing-ish crystals, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna kill chaos, and the king's like, there's 3 of you, not 4, and your crystals don't look right, but whatever, we'll roll with it.
I remember seeing a tweet which was like, if Elden Ring is Star Wars, then Strangers of Paradise is Spaceballs.
Yeah.
That's funny. I either want to play it or watch someone play it because I'm like,
No, I'm fully interested now.
Oh, it's,
Like, this was a game I was always gonna play eventually,
yeah.
but now it's full on the radar.
This sounds very cool.
I think I can't remember. I think I wrote it in your Discord, Will, where I was literally like 15, 20 minutes in from startup, and I already had 2 big belly laughs of just like how this is so stupid. I love it to bits.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm down. Yeah, I could go for this. Sounds great.
Elden Ring has been completely shoved to the side right now. I just want to play this.
Oh wow!
I just want to play more of this.
I feel like I'm the only, me and Sam are the only ones enjoying Elden Ring right now.
Oh, I do enjoy Elden Ring.
I finished it. I loved it.
I'm playing with friends again, right? So it's like I was always gonna have a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But I went into Elden Ring being like, I just want to play this game almost so I can say that I've played it and experienced it. Because
So you can be part of the conversation.
it is. It's just another Souls game.
Yeah.
And the only Dark Souls game that I've truly liked is Dark Souls 1. I haven't enjoyed anyone after that. You know what I mean?
The more time passes, the more I look back on Sekiro favourably. I think Sekiro is by far my favourite FromSoft game.
It's
You get some hate
Sekiro
for
or
that.
Bloodborne. It's close for me.
Bloodborne was always hampered
Elden
by
Ring
its
for me.
performance issues for me.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Into PC port. Give me that 60
Yeah.
FPS PC port.
That's never coming out.
No, yeah, it won't happen. But
Right, I've got nothing else to say on this game. Again, as I said, your mileage may vary. I don't want people to buy it and be like, "This is stupid." It's like
we're gonna message you back next week, like, Josh, this is shit. What are you talking about?
I'll be like, "Yeah, I know it is, right? Isn't it great?" So let's move on to some news. Okay, right. So
Yes.
I haven't curated any of the news this week because I've been
It was me
sicky boy. So if anything is bad, you can @ Steve.
on Twitter. Yeah, quick.
Find him in real life. First thing we have is this one. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is coming out on June 30th, 2022. I didn't catch the full direct. I just caught bits and pieces.
I did. I looked really good.
Is this coming to Steam at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, so this might be
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
Oh hell yeah!
because I only saw this, which said basically Nintendo Switch. I was like, oh no, but you say but it is coming to PC, which is good.
Yeah. It looks like the expansion. You have like a new hub area that looks a bit more medieval, and there's like a new zone to explore, and there's like 3 big bosses or something. But they've shown a lot of monsters for it already, and it just looks fun.
I mean, I'm always down
does.
for more Monster Hunter. So
Yeah, and it looks like it's kind of like the new zone. It's got like a mix of loads of different biomes. Like there's like castle, there's snow, forest, and all sorts. And it's like, it just looks fun. It's again, I don't think it's adding any super duper new mechanics, but it's just more
doesn't
Monster
need
Hunter.
it.
Yeah.
If they announced the expansion and said we're taking away several mechanics, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go.
the wire bug is gone.
Yeah. It looks like it's continuing the it's like the Monster Hunter team is almost like, cut loose, do whatever the fuck you want in this one, you know? Like that's what this kind of feels like, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Just saying,
There's a giant monkey with a kind of castle as his armor. It looks awesome.
That monkey was in the other one, right? Oh no, wait, no, that's new. I'm thinking of something else.
No, he's new. He's
You
new.
were thinking of Rajang.
No, that was this one, I think. Blood Orange something.
He's in.
He's like a new
base game.
variant of one of the old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shut them.
You all finished Rise, right?
Yeah.
I think we actually stopped one monster short of in Rise, but played a shitload of it. Yes, I'll finish the story at least. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we never fought Valstrut.
Val
Is that his name?
Scraz,
Yeah, the steam
Yeah.
train
the rocket one.
rocket dragon. Yeah, I don't think we ever actually.
That
fought
fight's
him, yeah.
really good. That's a shame you didn't finish it. It's a fun fight.
It's the grind, the end game grind. Like after a certain point, and when there's like 4 of us at different stages.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I wish it would just be like, just let us fight. Just let us fight it. Just let us fight it. We've killed everything up till now very handily. Just let us fight this last guy.
I'm all for any game that puts more Makoto in. Look at this character on screen. If you can, anyone that's watching, it's literally Makoto from Street Fighter.
I think they added a gear set for free, which is basically like, oh, this is good armor that will help carry you through most of the game.
Yeah, they did the same in Monster Hunter World to
Yeah,
catch you up for Iceborne. They added a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's already in right now. And one thing they're adding new skills to the game for every weapon. So I assume there'll be the optional ones that you can switch out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are adding new. So combat should feel a little different for each weapon as well, if you so choose.
I'm hoping that it just comes with like a menu toggle that says, "Do you want to play Sunbreak?" and skip the whole game, base game.
I don't think it will. If it's anything like World, I don't think it will.
Yeah, because that's my problem. Is I'm kind of locked to Switch.
Yeah, but I get if you mainlined.
If you got it on Steam, I can happily tell you that we would happly just boost you through.
Yeah,
You've done it all.
Wait, hold up. I don't know if I agreed to this. No,
Please boost
obviously,
me.
it wouldn't be in one sitting, but it'd be interesting to see how fast we could do it. But
I think Josh, that is a problem though. I think because it's like, it won't. You could equip that new gear or something and just grind through Rise, base game Rise, but I don't think you'd have a whole lot of fun just
Well, no, it's like
killing these monsters with complete ease.
I'm a Monster Hunter fan. I got Monster Hunter Rise on Switch because that was the only platform it was available on.
Yeah.
And now the expansion is coming out on PC and Switch at the same time, which I'm all for. Obviously, I'm not complaining. I'm not saying we should, Switch should get it first, but I have access to both.
I get it, yeah.
I guess it is. It would be nice if maybe they will for this one. Maybe that was something people complained about enough that they'll change it. But it would be nice if there was like just give me a Sunbreak character off the bat.
Well, this is
drop me right there. I've already done it on Switch.
This is one of those things that Microsoft and Xbox does really well in their like own a game, play it anywhere thing.
Yeah.
If this was a Xbox console game first instead of Switch, and then it came out on PC, my character would be there on PC.
Yeah, ready to go.
But that's a whole different conversation. But I'm not even asking. I'm not even saying I shouldn't have to buy Rise again. Like, I'm fine with buying it again. I just want to be able to jump.
You want to jump in straight at Sunbreak. Yeah.
That's all I want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's why I had that problem with Iceborne. I played the base game on PS4 of Worlds. I played Worlds on PS4, and then when Iceborne came out, I was like, no, I'm going to get it on PC to play with everyone here.
Yeah.
Which I don't think ever actually happened. I think I did some with Sam, maybe
I'm
once.
pretty sure we did a good amount of Iceborne, but I think it was just us two.
Yeah, I think it was, right? I think I did like one with Laura as well at one point. I can't really remember.
It's all a big blur.
It's all a blur. Yeah, it's such a while. It's a long time ago. But yeah, I remember playing through the base game of World again and being like, I mean, it's fun because it's Monster Hunter, but this isn't a challenge. And once the bosses aren't hard, I feel like those games lose something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, cool news though. June 30th.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Super excited for that. Let's go into the next one, which isn't like it's just the page for the game basically. Hogwarts Legacy. Did anyone? Because I did. Did anyone watch the direct? You did.
I watched it
today.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it today.
I watched it this morning. Yeah.
I thought this looks really good.
It looks really good, which is a real problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, obviously, the glaring issue is whenever this game was shown, no one ever spoke about the game. Everyone just spoke about JKRowling.
Yeah. And I think we're all fairly in agreement here that JKRowling is a moron and should
Yes.
fucking
Oh,
shut the
yeah.
fuck up already. Jesus Christ!
I think
what is wrong
yeah.
with you?
I think
she's
for the sake.
literally someone who's like, I'll double down, I'll triple down, and it's
Yeah.
like just
She's
I'll
Yeah.
start. I'll start funding campaigns that support my cause and actively oppress marginalized, people.
yeah, she's
and it's
become
like,
the face
what the fuck?
of oppression in some, for that group of people.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's a shame
And,
that such
I
a
almost. I
yeah.
had a. I was watching. I watched that trailer and I was like, oh, there's a joke to be had here about like, it's funny when, remember in the trailer how weird it was when it said, oh, you can make your own character, you can select from male, female.
yeah.
But then like,
Yeah,
it's just, I don't even want to go there because it's like, what the fuck?
I think
this
for-
it's not like a joke anymore.
yeah.
For the
I
sake
would
of
love-
this podcast,
Mhm.
again, we're all in agreement that she has some very, very shitty views. I want to
Yeah.
try and, for the sake of this,
Steer-
just steer away
Yeah,
from that
yeah.
a little bit,
Mhm.
and look more at this as a game.
Okay. Yeah, the game looks fantastic. To me, it ticks all the
I
right
have no idea what
boxes.
this game is.
So this is Hogwarts Legacy. It's the Harry Potter game that people have wanted since the Philosopher's Stone came to the cinema,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
2 decades ago.
So what that means is this game is going to look fantastic in trailers and be utter ass to play.
Well,
But
that's
carry on.
that's the thing. So
it might be.
yeah, people
Yeah.
aren't. It was quite a deep dive into the game.
Yeah.
17 or 14 minutes, right?
It was
Yeah.
it was a good 20 minutes.
Of just going into mechanics,
Yeah.
explaining everything, and I was like, wow, I'm not even a Harry Potter well, I was when I was a kid. I read all the
Yeah.
books and I really enjoyed them, but I can't say like, modern Harry Potter has done anything for me. I didn't really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic Beasts or that's it, I
Yeah.
guess. But like, the movies aren't. They're fine. They're not my thing. And even just watching this trailer, I was like, this looks like a good ass game, and I can't imagine how difficult it is to be a Harry Potter fan right now,
Yeah.
watching this trailer and being like, boy, I'd really like to play this, but it's actively funding something I really,
No, I'm
really
staring
disagree with.
away. I'm staring away.
When I watched it, I was like, this is what most people who are fans of franchises want games to be like. This looks like,
Yeah.
like the trailer alone made it look like a fantastic game,
This is
almost on
everything
the
I
levels
want,
of
yeah,
Elden
yeah.
Ring in a way.
Well,
like,
Harry
of
Potter
quality.
in my mind, Harry Potter was one of the last major, movie franchises that exists that hasn't had like a proper game or something made out of it. There's been tons
There's
of
Lego Harry Potter.
There is, but you know what I mean. There's tons of
Yeah.
there's Lord of the Rings games. There's tons of Batman games and Marvel games now and stuff. Spider-Man.
Yeah,
But it's
I'm
like,
trying to think.
here's
Game
ha-
of Thrones. I
Yeah,
guess,
there is
would be a recent-
there is a Game of Thrones game, I think.
Is there?
There were some old PlayStation games for this. I
That-
played them when I was a child.
I think there was a game that came out on Xbox One. Hang
Oh
on.
yeah. Game of Thrones on Steam. What the fuck?
Game of Thrones, the role-playing game. I thought this came out.
Oh, wow, I
2012.
Completely missed that.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't very good.
Well.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Um,
But Harry Potter had some games.
It
I
had-
remember
it
playing.
had-
I had a great Game Boy RPG.
Yeah, it had games, but nothing in recent mind, that jumps out as like something that had money pumped into it, like a lot of money.
Yeah.
But this is it's kind of open world, I think. Obviously, you're at
It
Hogwarts,
yeah.
but you can
It looks like
explore
some
the areas
sort of
around.
open world, yeah.
Yeah, you can explore the areas around. You can go to all the major locations. There are side quests and main quests.
There's seasons in the game.
There's seasons. People were really excited about that because that means I think seasons are obviously a big part of Harry Potter about how you go out during snow periods and stuff like that. You can have your own like menagerie
the-
of beasts.
Yeah, you go and visit the what's it
I'm gonna
called?
find
The village nearby. Have some
Yeah,
beer,
Hogsmeade.
play Quidditch. It was like
You
just
get your own-
everything. They just
yeah,
they
you
just
get your own
showed
house
everything.
in it, right?
Yeah, you can have.
You go through the sorting hat. You get to go into one of the houses.
There's relationships in the game. Like you can make friends with characters, and they'll teach you unique spells.
Yeah, you
It just
make
looks
your own
fantastic.
character. You're not playing as a predetermined. You make your own wizard.
Yep.
And it's.
The
I was like,
one-
wow. I was like, I was like, good lord, this
And
is.
it looks
impressive.
like there's decent combat as well. It reminded me of combat from The Witcher 3, where it's like it's not really there's not melee combat because it's all wands, but
Mhm.
I don't know. There was some stuff later in that trailer that looked like he was pulling off like combos and things. Like
yeah, because my first thought was like when they started showing combat, I was like, okay, it's Assassin's Creed. It looks like one at a time we're gonna attack you. But then you start when you start doing spells and some more range stuff, and there was lots of like micro dodging and stuff like that. It reminded me of The Witcher. And it looks like you can like kind of pick up and throw objects and enemies and stuff, which is what was that Star Wars game?
Force
Force
Awakens.
Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah, very Force Awakens.
And
It looked
even
cool.
The faces, other than the main character, because that's obviously is customizable, so there is going to be a little bit of jank. But the NPC faces looked really like good for a game.
It had some weird moments for me where a lot of the animations look really good, like where there'd be like a bunch of stones flying around to make a bridge, and then it would show a character against like a wall, and the wall looked really blurry. So it was a bit hit and miss for me from what I saw.
I think I don't know, but at the same time, it's AAA development. We know how that goes. I've been hurt before. How many times have we watched something like that and been like, "This looks great," and then it comes out and it's terrible. And it looks really promising.
Yeah, I imagine though this game will probably there'll be lots of people setting the sails on the 7 seas to distribute this game more so than others because they don't have any ethical quandaries doing so.
Yeah, I mean, I think my worry as well is they've said there's no microtransactions, so they have come out and said that. But this is it Warner Brothers, right? I assume it is because WB
has to be if it's Harry Potter.
Warner Brothers AAA games of recent memory are not good when it comes to microtransactions.
Like Shadows of War and
Shadows of War
Lord of
had
the
the big
Rings.
thing about the goblins like selling you loot boxes in a single player game. Mortal Kombat 11 was particularly bad with like 3 different kinds of
you had
currency.
to buy fatalities, didn't you?
You had fatality coins that you could purchase, and people were like, "Please stop."
They must know this is going to be a divisive game already, so I imagine hopefully they'll put their best foot forward and not
that's because the thing where it says like there's no microtransactions at launch or whatever, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but at the same time you're also showing me a trailer that has timers, like mobile game timers, and you're showing me 50 different million ways you can customize and dress up your character. It just screams to me like,
potential for maybe not at launch, like down the line.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you say someone asked the question like, will this game have microtransactions? And they're just like, we're happy to announce this will have no microtransactions at launch.
If there's a fan base for that will shell out for microtransactions, it will be the Harry Potter.
It will be, yeah.
The Harry Potter fan base. I think it's a real shame that a lot of the discussion around it's because it's clearly this could have been such a cash in, right? Like and it looks like they're really whoever's making this. What is it? Portkey
Games.
Is that's a studio made for this?
Portkey is the teleport thing they use in lore.
Yeah, and I feel like this could have been a cash in for fans of Harry Potter, and they would buy it because the Harry Potter fan base is incredibly passionate, and it feels like it's a shame that it seems like they're putting real effort into this, and it's going to be tarnished by the attitude and the stance of the creator of the original IP.
This game, from that trailer alone, I would say this game potentially could, and with the fact the franchise being so big, could have potentially competed with Elden Ring for Game of the Year that we know it's going to win already. Elden Ring's going to win Game of the Year no matter what. But this game could have been like actually giving it, a run for its money.
Well, I mean, let's wait for it to come out. It's saying a lot of things.
But from that trailer, it looked very, very promising.
Yeah, if they deliver on everything they're saying here, then it's got some real. This could be a real smash hit. Yeah,
it's the whole separating the art from the artist is really hard when it's also a product that.
I think it's one thing if it's like you talk about someone like what's his name, Necronomicon. What can I?
No,
what's his name? Cthulhu mythos.
Oh,
why have I blanked on that?
Yeah, why have I blanked?
But you know what I'm talking about. It's
I
like he's long gone, and he said a lot of problematic things at the time.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes, the one.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes, yeah.
It's like he's long gone, and while he said a lot of problematic things, it's like you can explain it away with like product of his time, that kind of thing. But it's like when it's someone who is still around and actively using the money they get from this franchise to fund campaigns, and things like that. It's like I don't know how you can. I don't know. Like I'm lucky in that I'm not a big enough Harry Potter fan that I could be like, okay, I guess I won't play this. That's fine. But it must really suck to be trying to rationalize playing this. When you know where. A
franchise that is also about a lot of individuality and being yourself. And,
it teaches like a strong message.
It does, yeah.
Love overcomes everything. Teach love instead of hate. And it's like, wow, how can it have gone?
And they did have a note on like the website being like, we're not tied to her really, but it's still,
she will profit.
She
from
will.
This.
It is,
whether it's like in social capital, because now Harry Potter will be will be talked about again. Yeah, be in the media again. She'll be brought up again, and it's whether maybe she's not directly profiting, but she will profit if this does well, and it's a real.
I think people. This game's going to be successful no matter what. I think the best thing to do though is like have conversations about why the issue. Why it's an issue. And I think that's the best thing anyone can really do.
Yeah, because it's like Harry Potter is, as you say, indirectly or directly, it does benefit her, but at the same time, these games and projects are created by thousands of individuals. That will not share her way of thinking.
Discussion with one of my friends about when the new WoW expansion inevitably comes out, will we play it? Because it's based off of all the previous controversy, right? And it's like, well, like bad shit has happened, but again, they weren't the people sweating blood and tears making the game, But they are the ones tied to it, and it's like where you've got to find yourself of like where you place the line and which side you're on.
And I can't. I 100%. Like I'm not gonna like get mad if you want to play and enjoy this game. Like that's not. I think life's too short.
That line in the sand will be different for each person.
Yes, exactly.
And no one is correct because it's a personal choice. Some people will. Some people will draw the line straight up and say, I'm never touching or engaging with Harry Potter again. That's fine. Some people will say, I don't like what she's doing, but I'm going to buy this game anyway. That's, if that's what you want to do, that's also fine. Some people won't care about any of it at all.
They're just looking for a good game.
Just looking for a good game. Yeah. It's just like, and no one is, in terms of that, right or wrong. It's just, only you can choose where you stand with that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
It's just such a shame. Just I don't know.
It's
you see it all over media where it's like somebody gets respect in their field, like they're a good actor or a good writer or something, and suddenly it's like they feel the need to put their opinion all over the place and it's like just. You wrote some good books. Just shut the fuck up. What are you doing? Like,
and I think I don't want to. I might be wrong. I don't want to drag someone through the mud if I'm wrong. But I think Notch from Minecraft might have been like a similar sort of thing. Not directly, not exactly the same as this, but like he made,
I've seen a lot of. He started losing his mind on Twitter.
Yeah, he
It's
made a
all
lot.
I've seen. It's...
He made Minecraft, sold it to Microsoft for billions, made a lot of money, and then started having some really bad opinions, just generally.
Or had them before, but knew to keep them to himself.
But
Exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't. If one guy who works on indie games in his spare time says some dumb shit on the internet, it's like no one cares. If somebody who's created one of the most profitable franchises of all time starts saying dumb stuff on the internet, I don't know. Yeah. I think it's really easy to get mad about this kind of stuff. And it's a real shame.
You've got to talk about it and have the discussion.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you've also got to move on.
We have to move on specifically
Speaking
from this news
of
story.
moving on, you've got the Quarry.
Yes. Oh, I'm excited.
I'm kind of half and half. Because
explain this game to me. What is it?
Did you ever see Until Dawn?
Until Dawn, yeah.
On PS4.
I know of that name.
Okay, you know of was it Man in Medan?
Yes.
The Dark Anthology series.
Okay, right. I instantly know what type of game this is.
This one is again similar to that. It looks like it's leaning very heavily on Friday the 13th. And that,
it's slasher movie kind of instead of. I guess Until Dawn was as well. Yeah,
this one leads more towards Until Dawn than the Dark Anthology series, which has already got 3 games in, and they've announced 5 more already. Yeah, this one is definitely closer to Until Dawn, and it just looks so good. I can't wait.
So the font up here for the Quarry, for anyone that can see. Not good for listeners, but it's like a bloody text. That's very. If I'm gonna Google it, I think it's very Friday the 13th. Like you can see it on the screen now if you're looking. It's very Friday the 13th. It's got a lake, like Camp Crystal Lake from Friday the 13th. It's
who are the big names in this one? Because they always try and get real. Big actors, don't they?
So you've got, you can see here.
Does it have what's Steve's boy? What's his name? It doesn't. Oh,
Aaron,
why can't I?
What his name?
Well, that was one of my big complaints about this. People were talking about it.
Why is he in this?
They said
I didn't know he's not.
They said it had really big names, and I didn't really recognize anyone.
I'm looking here. Justice Smith from Detective
I've
Pikachu.
got, okay, so you got David Arquette. You've got Siobhan Williams,
Ariel Winter,
Skylar Gisondo, Ariel
all these names. Let's go,
Brenda Song. I think I recognise her. I'm not sure what from, but I think I do.
Brenda Song is from The Sweet Life on the Deck and Pure Genius. It says I've got a website up telling me what things they've been in.
Oh, okay.
So, do you mean to go through them if you want?
Yeah, so
David Arquette is from Scream, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes.
A lot of the older characters are actually famous people from other horror franchises. You got Siobhan Williams, who's from Heartland and Black Box.
That's Siobhan, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I can't speak. Skylar Gisondo from the Santa Clarita Diet and Vacation. Ariel Winter from Modern Family and Sophia the First. Brenda Song from The Sweet Life on Deck and Pure Genius. Evan Evagora, from Star Trek Picard. Halston Sage from How to Rock and The Orville. Justice Smith from Jurassic World and Pokemon. Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yep, Detective Pikachu.
Miles Robbins from 2018's Halloween. Zach Tinker from The Young and the Restless and Law and Order. Ted Raimi from The Evil Dead and Sequest DSV, and Grace Zabriskie.
Lance Henriksen is in this,
and Seinfeld. Yeah, there's this like a lot of like well-known people in horror franchises, and the kids are all up-and-coming actors who like have been known. So
yeah, the main person I recognised was David Arquette. Like he was the one face that I saw that I went, I can't remember your name, but I know your face.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good. The setup is that I think they're being like hunted. All the kids are being hunted by people, monsters, whatever.
Yeah.
The trailer's very like hard cut. It keeps like slashing very quickly through different cuts, and I think there's certain bits where someone gets shot. There's like a monster grabs someone from out of the screen, like just stuff like that. So it's very
classic slasher.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of misdirection in this.
It's cool. It's cool. I'm glad these games are getting made. As someone who's not a massive fan of slasher films, and these kind of like expensive visual novels.
Basically, yeah. Choose your own
isn't
adventure.
My cup of tea, but it looks really cool. I have to say though, I'm extremely disappointed. I read the headline that said Supermassive makes making the Quarry horror storytelling experience, and I went the people who
the Hades people
are making a horror game. All right, I'm down. And you read it and you're like, God damn it, I got fooled again. And I think this has happened like 3 times now. I'm so annoyed. I forget every single time. So no, it's not Hades or Bastion. It's not those guys. Pyre. It's the Until Dawn people again. And now I'm like disappointed going into even reading about this game.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but it's such a good franchise. It's kind of like, for those who don't know, it's kind of like you play. There's a lot of Q2Es and stuff, and like the goal is to try keep as many characters alive as possible.
This is Until Dawn, by the way.
Yeah.
We don't know what the Quarry actually
We don't
is
really
yet.
know. Yeah, we imagine it's similar.
They said 9 kids have to survive the night.
Yeah.
How many will you keep alive?
I definitely feel that Until Dawn had a much stronger cast. I feel.
Yes. Yeah. The Dark Anthology series, weaker cast, but they're more modern, of course.
Yeah, like
Right. Who's the guy? Who's the? Why can't we?
You had
Remy Malek, Hayden Panettiere, Sean Ashton. Thank you.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah, Peter Stormare.
There were some really good actors and actresses in Until Dawn. I think you can get that game really cheap now as well.
It's PlayStation exclusive though, unfortunately.
It's on PC.
Is it on PC?
I'm sure it's on PC. Yeah.
Let me have a look. I thought it was on PC. No, it is only on PlayStation 4.
Because there's a mechanic in it where you have to keep your controller still.
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
which they've changed up for the Dark Anthology games because it's like they don't expect everyone to use a controller. But yeah, in Until Dawn you had to keep your controller still during certain parts.
It's really not.
There were other bits as well. I think I remember where because the PlayStation controllers have a microphone, you had to like be quiet.
Yeah,
and if you made any noise, you'd like alert the chaser and stuff. Until Dawn is great.
Okay, fair enough. I searched for Until Dawn on Steam, and there's a £202 collector's edition of Hunt Showdown. What the fuck?
There you go. New Twitch donation goal right there.
It's interesting.
Right, let's do the last few bits. You had this kind of, what would you call this, Steve? Like please don't
guilt.
please buy Babylon's Fall tweet. So
they're in that really old stage where nobody bought it, but they've committed to it being a live service game, and the 10 people that did buy it are going to kick up a real stink if they don't get their live service.
Yeah, so reading this here, it says, is the continuing service in danger for Babylon's Fall? Obviously, we had this discussion last week. The game launched to about a small primary school classroom's worth of children. And that's it.
Oh my god. It feels bad now. It's like kicking sand in a little kid's face. Like, there's no fun here.
You've on a few occasions, you've had more viewers in your Twitch streams than this game has active players.
Yeah, we could go and triple the player base of Babylon's Fall if I convinced everyone to go and play it. Yeah.
So it says, obviously, for a live service game, it's important to have people playing. So they're trying to convince people that basically they've done all content up to the end of Season 2 and they're starting work on Season 3 and beyond. I believe them when they say that Season 2 is done, because that's just work that's done, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't believe that there will be a Season 3 and beyond if it carries on like it is.
Well, the big thing that also came with this statement is they put out a survey being like, how can we improve the game? But the survey is all focused on graphical issues because the game looks shit.
Yeah.
And not anything about the abundance of microtransactions that kind of, I think, is the main point that people don't like about the game. So
I don't have a problem with microtransactions. I just have a problem with them when the game is full price.
Yeah.
Like, pick one or the other. Don't do both. But, so
Yeah, I don't know.
we would like to thank all Sentinels already enjoying the world. We look forward to welcoming more of you in the future.
What's really funny is when they list all the players by name, because there's only about 13 of them.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Brandon.
Well, I think someone linked me, like, on launch day, it had like 600 players, and then last week it only had 300 peak during the week, and it was like, it's already lost half its player base.
I can't imagine being, it used to be you'd put out a game and it's like, oh, did it do well or did it flop? There we go, we'll move on. Maybe we'll file for bankruptcy or something because we didn't make any money. And now there's this like, we can't just drop this. Think of our reputation. We have to, they're having all these. They must be having these conversations over at Platinum. Like, we just have to drop this. It makes no financial sense to keep working on this game.
I guarantee there will be developers that'll be.
Or do they think they can turn it around?
I reckon there'll be developers that'll be like, this. Our goals are unreasonable. We need to change them. And there'll be lead developers that'll be like, yeah, I agree. And then maybe people above them that are like, yeah, I agree. And then at some point there'll be execs or investors that are like, I was promised this much return on this game. Fucking find that money, otherwise you're all in big trouble.
but then again, there's a certain point of like, well, we have all this, set up. We have all the tools and the pipeline in place to make content. What's the over under? At what point does it make sense to at least finish some of this stuff, or instead of versus starting a whole new project or something?
If they are starting
it's
work,
such an awful situation.
If you take this tweet at its like face value, right, and they've started work on season 3 and beyond, if that's true, that team is probably a skeleton crew. It'll be a handful of people, 3 or 4, 5 people making cosmetics. And that's probably
and then it reminds me of, I think Anthem put out a very similar message right after it launched to everybody shitting on it, and they said something similar where they said like, no, we're committed, we're going to keep putting out content for this game, sort of thing. Maybe we need to reevaluate our
Anthem had a roadmap.
What a season means. It had a roadmap, and then they just went dead silent and nothing happened.
I want to find out
they put out some very poor content updates. And then cancelled it.
I don't think any of this came out.
No, I don't think it did. I think I think they did something. They did like an Act 1, but it didn't have barely anything in it.
Yeah, it had next to nothing in it.
And they just called it, and they just said, no, we can't do this.
And then Anthem is now on Game Pass that you can play basically for free if you own it.
I played through it. That base game was not awful. It wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't great, but I was like, there's stuff here. It's not an awful game.
I'm so sad that Anthem failed, because it still aesthetically, to me, it looks so cool. I really like the look of it.
And for that day, you were the biggest Anthem streamer, because
I was the number 1 Anthem streamer. Yeah, with like 4 people watching. It was great.
Good times.
That was fun. That was ages ago, wasn't it? Blimey.
Yeah.
This was when you first started streaming, I think.
It was, yeah.
That's a good image.
That was a fun little. This is a picture of the helmet opening from Anthem, and it's a sad clown.
Right.
I always feel bad though, because people. This game will come out, and this especially Babylon's Fall will have a core fan base, right? And instead of them being like, all right, the game came out, it's not very good, we'll play it for a bit and then move on. Now there's this like hope that they have to live with for the next, 6 months, a year of like, no, they'll turn it around. I trust Platinum, and it's Maybe they will, but yeah, I don't know.
The best thing they can do is either make the game free to play or put it on Game Pass at this point. That's the only redeeming thing that they can make. Maybe do some changes and then make it free to play or put it on Game Pass.
I would say best thing to do is convert it, like you say, convert to free to play. Get some promotion, get it on Game Pass, and then actively where they're like, oh, we're working on season 3 and beyond. Like, stop. Just no. If it takes off again, then maybe consider it. But if you think what the player base is like now, who do you think is going to still be playing 3 seasons from now?
Yeah, yeah.
It's going to be like 6 people. They won't be able to get a full lobby.
They're going to have to buy an awful lot of microtransactions to keep this train rolling. Yeah. It's just sad. It's just
Yeah, because it should
no
be
one wants a game to be bad, do they? Yeah.
So there's also I don't
know, the Harry Potter game would have been better if it was bad.
Maybe if that game was bad, then we wouldn't. Yeah, there'd be no awkward conversations about this. Yeah.
Going to wrap up these last 2 stories because I don't think there's much to talk about, but we'll go through anyway.
Yeah.
Elden Ring is selling stupid amounts of copies. People like Elden Ring.
Always
12
going
million.
to.
Its current number is 12 million worldwide, which is insane.
I don't know. I talked about it a bit when we. We don't have to get into this, but like, it still feels like Elden Ring and the Souls franchise in general rides this weird line of being niche, but also everybody is playing it and buying it.
Yeah,
it's not. What I mean?
It's not niche anymore. It is one
No,
of the biggest.
no.
It's one of the biggest ones on the planet now. The biggest brands.
The biggest thing with Elden Ring though was the whole George R.R. Martin thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that was the big push it had.
What a bait that was as well.
And this game could have been ass. It might have sold less. It would have still sold a fuck ton if this game was ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because whenever a game is terrible, it's not that game's sales which suffer. It's the one afterwards.
I just think the fact that this is selling so much now, you can basically forget about Dark Souls and Sekiro and Bloodborne. This is it going forward now.
Well, and also there's one standout line from this press release, which is the president of Bandai Namco has said, in like manner, we will continue our efforts into expanding the brand beyond the game itself and into everyone's daily lives. So people are thinking like...
That's very ominous.
What does that mean?
Yeah, is it going to, like, TV series, comic book, mobile game, other
Elden
games?
Ringos.
They're thinking like it's going to be like expanding the lore of the world into other areas somehow. Like, the cynic says like daily lives means like not game, mobile game. But I think people are thinking more like TV shows, movies about the world.
Your smart fridge every morning will tell you to get good.
You're maidenless now.
Oh, the Elden Ring memes are so good.
It's just it's sold so many copies. It's just every.
Good. It's a great game. I'm glad this franchise is coming to like because there's so much here. I feel like other franchises could take from, like Ubisoft. This is a really good example of how to do a really fun open world. Like maybe take some lessons from that. Like,
no, go climb that watchtower over there.
I don't. Okay, I don't want to bring it up again, so I'm only going to say it once. But I don't think the open world aspect is the biggest strength of Elden Ring. But
no, but it's miles away. Miles away. It's miles away. It's far and away better than like the last Assassin's Creed I played, which is that just felt like a checklist game. Yeah.
Although I do think that there is a place in the gaming sphere for the Ubisoft game, like, there was a meme before
those games
about,
sell
like,
fine. I'm sure it's
there was a meme before about like, oh, if Assassin's Creed was made by Ubisoft and it had like quest logs and health bars everywhere and all that, and it's like there is a place for that, like for those types of games for people, but not every game needs to be an Ubisoft game.
That's the thing. We literally just had Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
And if Assassin's Creed needs to start being anything like a game, it needs to start being like that.
Yeah, I would agree to
that.
Okay, well, I'm going to move on from this because we've spoken so much about Elden Ring. The last little bit, again, there's not really any news here, but Steve added it right at the end. Fortnite has just turned its new season as of, I think, like a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
And they've, as of right now, removed all the building, Which
What?
It's just a shooter now. Yeah,
it's just a shooter with
What?
Marvel
No
characters.
way. Really?
they have. Yeah, it's blowing up.
It's
They've
so
removed...
it's in-game lore, so
Yeah.
it's like not going to be permanent. But yeah, as of right now, you cannot build in Fortnite. I think if you play, because the game has like ranked and competitive modes.
Mm-hmm.
If you
One of
play,
those has them.
yeah, if you play those, it still has building because that is the game, right? But if you just play like drop in quick play,
And they've added a new like overshield mechanic or something where you get like a shield that regenerates or something to compensate for not having the defensiveness of the builds. But yeah, so I'm actually might boost it up and give it a try.
Yeah.
now.
Weird.
I don't
I'm
have to
kind of
worry
tempted
about
to try it out. Yeah, it's just
building
see
a
what I
tower in 2
know.
seconds.
it will just be a goofy battle royale with Marvel characters that you can't build in. I'll have a look, maybe.
And Naruto characters and
I-
every other
I-
franchise.
I didn't know about this remove building thing, but I saw Steve post Fortnite news about this new season, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll go watch the trailer. And there was a bit where one of those portal wizard portals, what's it called? Doctor Strange portals start spinning. And Doctor Strange, and I was like, "Oh, that's Doctor Strange." And then I realized like how stupid, like how low on like that's not even a bad crossover anymore. That doesn't mean anything. I was like, "Oh yeah, of course." Well,
Yeah.
why did
Fortnite,
I even react? to
Fortnite
that?
these days it's literally next level advertising
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like, oh my god, Doctor
Super, or is it superliminal advertising?
Yeah, it's like
It's like Fortnite doesn't go to other people to get
yeah,
other characters in their game.
Yeah.
People go to Fortnite.
well, yeah, it's like it's like
yeah.
Can
oh,
we work a deal?
oh my god, we've got Doctor Strange in Fortnite. It's like yeah, because his movie comes out in like a month and a half or whatever.
It's like, was it Multiverse of Madness or whatever? I should go and see that as Doctor
Yeah.
Strange teabags me like right in front of my face, live on screen.
I will say, for all like the shit that Fortnite gets these days, like when they got their first like Marvel crossover, and that was like so epic, and now it's like every game is getting, well, not every game, but it's now seems commonplace to have like these massive crossovers in other games, and I think Fortnite did really pave the way for that with how successful it was, and how like these massive big like crossovers were happening. So
Or like games like
It's easy when
Fortnite
you're
and
big,
Fortnite, Minecraft, this, that, and the other. It literally bundles all these kids together. It's a bit slimy, but these execs will be like, yeah, might as well pump ads at them in the form of like in-game skins and stuff. It's like the last season of Fortnite when the whole planet flipped or whatever, and it was a new map.
yeah,
It launched and it had Spider-Man, and it had a new item where you could like web zip around, and it was like, oh, it's really cool. But also, the new Spider-Man movie's just come out, and it feels a bit weird.
well, they have crossovers at random times. Like they added Naruto characters when Naruto's finished as a franchise, right? It's Boruto's dad now.
Yeah, it's Boruto's dad.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it's like
They do have random crossovers, but yeah, I get what you mean. Like some of the crossovers with the optimal timing is a bit like, it feels like advertising. Yeah.
oh, it is 100% advertising. I don't know what the Naruto one was about, but there's no doubt in my mind that something was probably happening at the time with Crunchyroll or something.
Probably.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying this is a week-long event. It's not a thing.
Oh,
Building will be back by next week. This is Reddit. I'm just looking at the. So
Yeah.
they could be completely wrong, but.
Remember, they're all 10-year-olds.
Yes, yeah. 10-year-olds and me. Oh, that's weird.
I still would be interested to see what Fortnite is like without the building.
Oh, you can play it without the building.
Yeah,
You
can
just
go
everyone else
now,
can
yeah.
build.
It's just yeah. Fortnite without building sucks because everyone kills you. Yeah.
If you want to play
That sounds
Fortnite,
cool. I might check that out.
yeah, if you want to play Fortnite without building, you unfortunately have to go back about 4 years when it first came out, and no one built anything.
Yeah, that was great. I missed that.
You'd build a ramp,
Yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah, it was
And-
like,
and
how do
now
we get on top of this hill? I can build a ramp, and that was all the building was. It was awesome.
And now you take a shot at someone and they've built like a 40-story tower.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's
2 seconds.
that's all our news for the week. Good job, everybody. That's another week complete.
You did it. I didn't think we'd make it with you being ill. and
I
me being
feel like I'm
ill.
gonna die.
Would you like me to do the game releases quickly?
Yeah, go on, Steve.
Okay, so on March 22nd, we have Rune Factory 5 for the Switch. Rune
I'll
Factory
probably
is
pick up something.
Harvest Moon but magic, but not as popular for some reason, even though Harvest Moon but Magic seems like a fantastic thing. In the 25th, we have 3 big games. We have Tiny Tina's Wonderland on every single platform except for Switch, it seems. That's the Borderlands D&D thing, right?
Yeah.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land on Switch, and Ghostwire Tokyo on PC and PS5.
I'm still not sure what I think about Ghostwire Tokyo. It looks kind of really
don't know
good
what
and
it
really
is.
bad at the same time. What are you guys looking at? Are you looking at any of those?
Not really. Tiny
I'm
Tina
not-
maybe, but I don't know if I want to go full
Yeah.
price on another Borderlands game.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tiny Tina's if it was on Game Pass maybe, and if Rune Factory 5 was like free for some reason for me, I'd play it, but I don't want to like
I'll
buy
pick
another
up
Switch
Rune
game.
Factory 5 at some point, like without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'm just
No,
going
I'm
to
going to
keep
be playing
playing.
Fortnite. I'm a Fortnite player
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to keep playing Fortnite. Oh, I mean, I'm going to start playing Fortnite. Shit.
Remember to fast on
I don't play
play
I'm
Fortnite.
going to
Fortnite.
load up.
Like-
Josh can have all his like Master Chief.
No, I don't play. I don't play Fortnite. No, don't make fun of me.
we were going to
Will
play
they
a
give
different
me-
game on Tuesday, but should we switch that over to Fortnite now?
We could play. You can play Among Us
What are we playing
in
on
Fortnite.
Tuesday?
Call Keeper, right?
Oh yeah.
Spoilers. Although this releases the same day.
I say we all play
Oh.
Among Us in Fortnite instead.
There is that mode, yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
What?
That'd be way more fun.
What?
You guys have
There is
broken
Among Us
my
Fortnite
soul.
mode, yes.
What?
There's
Yeah,
no.
we're all playing Goalkeeper next week. I'm excited.
Yeah,
The
hopefully
game looks cool.
get some good core keeper stuff. Okay, should we call it there?
Yeah, but that's
Right.
that's it for the week, innit?
Thank you for listening, everybody. Let's do socials very, very quickly. As always, my name is BottlerWorks. I'm BottlerWorks on everything relevant, mainly Twitter these days. My socials are below. How about you, William?
Some variation on Olive Meister, whether it's Olive Meister YouTube or Olive_Meister on Twitch. You'll find me. You'd be able to find me if you tried. You'll find me.
Yeah, it's very, very, very exposed.
Yeah, my branding is really shit. I'm all over the place. Yeah.
And how about you, Steve?
I am Quikwix on Twitter and Twitch, and that is QUIKWIX.
Yeah, definitely check out Steve on Twitch because he's got a new VTuber model now, which I saw
No,
earlier.
it's not a VTuber model. It's an animated GIF, but
Oh,
it's
I'm trying my best, Steve. I'm very sorry.
it's
This is
it's
like
still
when the dad
it's not a
tries-
Nintendo.
it's you know.
Oh,
it's
you're winning,
very
son.
fancy though, and I'm very happy with it. So yeah, come check me out on Twitch.
And where can we find you, Sam?
You can't.
Oh, that's a
I'm
shame.
Sam.
One day I'll find you.
I'm hidden.
I'll tell you what, you message me if you want to speak to Sam, and I'll hook you up.
He's like a dealer,
Oh, no.
like a Sam dealer.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.